G'day, my name's Alan Gamble. Welcome to another episode of Aussie Box Office Charts. Weekend 24 of 2026. We have a big new Spielberg to talk about. Let's dive in. So, starting with the top 10, as always, Disclosure Day, the new big Spielberg sci-fi, does take number one spot, opening with $3.7 million for a current total of just under $4 million. That's decent. It's okay. And we're going to compare it to Spielberg's entire filmography after the top 10 in terms of Aussie box office openings. But for context, that's his 7th biggest opening. And if we adjust for inflation, it drops down to like his 13th highest. So it's okay. It's not lighting the roof on fire, but it's not a total bomb either. At number 2, we have Obsession in its 5th week of release with another $2.7 million, finally dropping 11%. Its first week-on-week drop since it released 5 weeks ago, for a current total of $15.8 million. Scary Movie 6 drops down to number 3 with another $1.7 million. Its second week in release dropping 52% for a current total of $6.6 million. Backrooms shimmies down to number 4 with another $1.3 million, dropping 51% in its third week of release for a current total of $12 million. And dropping down to number 5 is Masters of the Universe, dropping a pretty sizable 56% with another $900,000 in its second week of release for a current total of $3.7 million. We're going to check Masters of the Universe with the toy franchises and their totals, and Scary Movie's totals, to see how they stack up against the other movies in that series. But moving on to 6 through 10. Now, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are all the exact same movie in the exact same position as they were last week. Michael stays at number 6 with another $800,000, its 8th week in release, dropping 47% for a current total of $44.4 million. Still the highest grossing movie of 2026 so far. The Mandalorian and Grogu holds number 7 with another $580,000, its 4th week in release, dropping 58% for a current total of $14.1 million. The second highest grossing movie of 2026, The Devil Wears Prada 2, stays at number 8 with another $400,000, dropping 54% in its 7th week of release for a current total of $41 million. And The Sheep Detective stays at number 9 with another $419,000, its 6th week in release, dropping 36% for a current total of $8.3 million. Rounding out the top 10 is Colony, the new action horror from director Yong Sang-ho, the director of Train to Busan, sneaks into the top 10. The other movie I saw this weekend, along with Disclosure Day, was Tuna, which didn't make it into the top 10. Steven Spielberg. He's had a career going back decades, box office hits as far back as we can remember. The only thing I couldn't find was a Jaws opening week or weekend box office number. Every other film I've managed to find the opening week at the Aussie Box Office. So this is what his filmography looks like, and there are a few surprises in here. Now, obviously, back in the 70s and 80s, the film release structure was very different, so expect those numbers to be really low. E.T. at $600,000 was the highest opening weekend for a movie at that point in time, to put it in context. A feat that Steven Spielberg repeated in 1989 with the release of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, that brought in $2 million in its opening weekend, which was then the highest opening movie at that point in time. It did get beaten out by Batman later in 1989. He would repeat that same feat in 1993 with Jurassic Park, where it opened to $4.8 million, which at that time was staggering. Massive amount of money. The Lost World Jurassic Park in 97 did not repeat that feat, as other movies had released and did do bigger numbers. Then we can see the rise and fall, where he's had his big hits and his small hits. Saving Private Ryan opened massive. Catch Me If You Can opened pretty decent, about what Disclosure Day did. And then we have things like The Terminal or Munich that opened to under $2 million. War of the Worlds in 2005 opened to $6.7 million. And his highest opening movie in the Australian box office, and we'll check this when we switch it high to low, is Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Imagine having that as your legacy for your highest opening movie in the Aussie box office, because anyone that's seen that movie will tell you it's not good. But you can see there's movies around $3 million, around $4 million. There's some bombs that, like West Side Story and The Fabelmans in 2021 and 2022. But let's sort this high to low. So this is what it looks like high to low to put Disclosure Day in context. It's just behind Ready Player One from 2018 and just ahead of Catch Me If You Can from 2003. It's behind Jurassic Park, Jurassic Park The Lost World, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, War of the Worlds, and Saving Private Ryan, which round out his top openings at the Aussie box office. If we adjust this for inflation, Disclosure Day drops down the order quite a bit, opening just behind Hook from 1992 and 2016's The BFG. Spielberg's top opening movies adjusted for inflation at the Aussie box office, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull still holds the top spot. Jurassic Park The Lost World, Jurassic Park 2, holds second spot, and War of the Worlds takes third spot. The original Jurassic Park from 1993 comes in at fourth. When we look at totals next week, it's a bit of a different story because the hype for Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull was massive, but we all know how that one went. Moving on to Scary Movie with Scary Movie 6 and their total box office. This is the Scary Movie franchise at the Aussie box office with their total Aussie gross. So this is not opening weekends, this is the entire amount they brought in during their run. So already Scary Movie 6 has brought in more than Scary Movie 2 did and Scary Movie 5 did. It is closing the gap on Scary Movie 3 and 4. I think it's going to be hard pressed to catch the original from 2000. If we adjust for inflation, it looks a little bit different, where it's beaten 5 and it's going to beat 2, but it's got a long way to go to catch 3, 4, or the original. And I'm not sure if it's going to get there. Moving on to the toy game franchise box office. So the total box office of every live action movie based on a toy or game franchise. So this is something we looked at last week, and you can see there is one clear standout with Barbie from 2023 at a current total of $86.4 million. The rest is dominated by Transformers. The 2007, the sequel in 2009, the following sequel in 2011, and Age of Extinction in 2014. Masters of the Universe all the way down there is not doing so well, and if we sort this high to low to paint a clearer picture of where it's at compared to where it needs to get to, it's all the way down there, 8th from the bottom, and it's got to make up a bunch of room even to catch G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra from 2009. These numbers are not adjusted for inflation. I think it's going to struggle to catch G.I. Joe, Battleship, the other G.I. Joe. Like, I'm going to be surprised if this one breaks $10 million. So, it's obviously not going to catch Barbie. I'm pretty comfortable to say that. It's not going to catch any of the Transformers movies. And it's not going to catch even G.I. Joe or Battleship from 2012. Moving on to the top 10 for 2026. So this is the top 10 of all 2026 releases. Everything released in calendar year 2026. We do have some movement, but not at the top. The top 5 remains the same, with Michael at number 1 with $44.4 million. The Devil Wears Prada 2 at number 2 with $41 million. The Super Mario Galaxy movie at number 3 with $39.3 million. And just behind it, Project Hail Mary at number 4 with $39.1 million. Wuthering Heights stays at number 5 with $20.3 million. Here is where the movement starts at number 6, with Obsession moving all the way up to number 6 with its $15.8 million. That knocks The Mandalorian and Grogu down to number 7 with $14.1 million. Song Sung Blue shimmies down to number 8 with $12.2 million. And also a new entry in the chart at number 9 is Backroom with its just over $12 million. That knocks Goat down to number 10 with its $11.9 million. And a new thing on the chart means something goes off and the Magic Faraway Tree is out of the top 10 for 2026. Upcoming this week, 18th of June, we have some big ones. The biggest of which is Toy Story 5, Returning with a new entry after 7 years, directed by Andrew Stanton and starring Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Joan Cusack, and Greta Lee. We also have The Death of Robin Hood, a new entry for Robin Hood. This one is directed by Michael Sinofsky, who directed Pig and Quiet Place Day 1, starring Hugh Jackman, Jodie Comer, and Bill Skarsgård. We also have Leviticus, the latest buzzy Aussie horror out of Sundance earlier this year, written and directed by Adrian Chirella and starring Joe Bird, Stacey Clausen, and Mia Wasikowska. In limited release, so check your smaller and indie cinemas, we have Phi Phong, The Blood Demon, a horror movie out of Vietnam. We have Cocktail 2, a Hindi language romantic comedy out of India. And Ma Intil Bangaram, a Telugu language action drama out of India as well. On streaming releases, it's not too loaded. I don't think anything wants to compete with Toy Story across the board. But we do have Your Fault London, a new romance drama on Amazon Prime, directed by Danny Girdwood and Charlotte Fazler, starring Asha Banks, Matthew Broome, and Louisa Binder. It releases on June 17th. We have Voicemails for Isabel, a new romantic comedy on Netflix, directed by Leah McKendrick, starring Zoe Deutsch, Nick Robinson, Nick Offerman, and it releases on June 19th. We also have a new miniseries, I Will Find You. It's a mystery crime drama miniseries from the creator Harlan Coben and Robert Hull, and it releases on Netflix on June 18th, starring Sam Worthington, Britt Lower, and Logan Browning. In returning series, we have Sugar returning for its second season on Apple TV Plus on June 19th. I've been meaning to check this one out, maybe I will get to it. We also have The Agency Central Intelligence, also returning for its second season on Paramount Plus on June 22nd. And the biggest returning series this week, House of the Dragon, returns for its third season on HBO Max or HBO or whatever it's called now on June 22nd. Back up to 5 movies for this week's movie challenge with the theme of help, so let's get into it. First up was K-19 The Widowmaker from 2002, directed by Catherine Bigelow, starring Harrison Ford, Liam Neeson, and Peter Sarsgaard. Based on the story of the Soviets' first nuclear-armed and powered submarine, K-19, on its maiden test voyage. And being the Soviets and nuclear power, obviously, things don't go well. While doing part of my mini side challenge of watching Catherine Bigelow movies, this one had mixed reviews, but I think I fell on the side of liking it. I'm always partial to a nuclear disaster movie, as well as submarine movies, so for me, it worked. While it's no Hunt for Red October, it's still a pretty solid for the right audience. Next up was the new big Spielberg sci-fi of Disclosure Day, starring Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Colin Firth, and Coleman Domingo, telling a sci-fi conspiracy thriller about one man with evidence that he wants to show the world. I really wanted to love this one, but I didn't. Not that it's bad, although some people think it might be bad. I still generally liked it, but I feel it was a bit too long and looped a couple of plot points that could have been done better. If I was to throw it into a Spielberg tier list, it would look something like this. Just a mid-pack. It's okay. It's not his worst. It's definitely not his worst. But it's far, far, far from his best. I still liked it, but it wasn't what I hoped for. Next was another 2026 theatrical release of Tuna, directed by Daniel Rother and starring Leo Woodhall, Havana Rose Liu, and Dustin Hoffman. A small indie film that I'd heard of out of Sundance tells us of a piano tuner and his old mentor, and an opportunity when he's struck with health issues. I really like this one. Small, tight, great characters. I'm always partial to a good crime thriller, and this one fit the bill perfectly, especially coming off the back of Disclosure Day, which I saw on the same day. Not for everyone, but I think if you enjoy smaller, character-based movies, you should have a good time with this one. Moving on was a rewatch of 2023 Mars Express, directed by Jeremy Perrin, and starring Lee Drucker and Matthew Amalric, giving us a sci-fi crime noir story of a PI investigating a missing robotics student that goes deep down the rabbit hole as they dig further into the case. This is a movie I caught at a film festival quite a few years ago, and it was great then, and it's even greater now. Absolutely loved it, and it's firmly an underappreciated modern sci-fi classic that more people need to get eyes on. If you like 90s cyberpunk anime, noirs, this one needs to be on your list. It is a great modern classic sci-fi. Finally was another 2026 catch-up movie of Signal 1, written and directed by Jonathan Sobol, starring Isabelle Fuhrman, Josh Hutcherson, and David Thewell. Telling a similar story as Disclosure Day about a possible first contact, language, and communication. While this one might be a much lower budget and rough around the edges, I honestly did prefer this movie's take on the wave on First Contact more than Disclosure Day's take. I felt this one asked more questions and went more in on interesting communication issues that might present to a highly advanced species communicating with Earth. Certainly not for everyone, and it does think it's a little smarter than it is, but I still really like this one, even if it wasn't perfect. This week's challenge is a simple one, the noughties. So similar to like the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, this one is from 2000 to 2009. People have kicked it off with Brokeback Mountain and Man on Fire. We've got lots to choose from: Battle Royale, Amiel, Catch Me If You Can, Donnie Darko, Idiocracy, culturally relevant right now. We've got lots to choose from. Let's dive into my shortlist, which consists of Paprika, Amiel, Goodbye Drag It In, a few bad ones like Max Payne or Postal, a DOA rewatch, some Spielberg like War of the Worlds or Minority Report, maybe Kingdom of Heaven, Infernal Affairs, The Devil Wears Prada, Drumline. We've got lots to choose from. We'll see how we go. That is it for me this week. Tune in next week where we'll be looking at the totals of how Spielberg movies are stacking up compared to the predecessors, as well as the openings of Robin Hood movies, and probably, let's be honest, more importantly for the box office next week, Toy Story 5. I am probably going to catch the death of Robin Hood, and I may catch Toy Story 5 if I hear good things. I've not been a huge Toy Story fan, but if I hear good things, I will go check it out on the weekend. But that's it for me. Have a good one. Watch more movies. Bye.